The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, welcome to the weekly Clarion Live Noyantis User Group Meeting. Today is the 2nd of July 2018. Myself and John here online. Sorry for the delayed start, a little hiccup, but we're here now, that's the main thing. Now I know we've got a couple of questions to cover today, and we also said we were going to take a look, hopefully, at trying to centralize, doing a bit of work on the centralizing of the settings for the CodeJoc wrapper templates. So, but before we do that, let's cover some updates that are currently in the pipeline. The first one is to do with the report control, and it's the TrackBar view, and mainly to do with the blocks that can clash. So let's just take a quick look at what we're referring to. So this is a report control, list control really, but it's in TrackBar mode, as we can see. And for my test data here, I've purposely added, I'll just get my dry run sheet here, purposely added some blocks, and we can see I've got 4 blocks, there are IDs there, and this is the list on the right is actually just a standard Clarion list control based upon a queue which the class maintains. Now this update is out, it was released last week, and that is a list of the blocks that are currently in the actual control. So we can see here at block 1, as we move it around, position 6 for 6, if we resize it, it's 6 for 1, and so on and so forth. So those blocks will be kept real time for you, and if we was to move them around, we can see, and so on and so forth. Okay, I'm going to put that back to my test data. So that's the blocks. Now, what you've got here is now it's a new queue, and basically it tracks any clashes to the blocks. So I think the queue name, let me just open up the actual class to remind myself. That is the block queue. So basically from our screen design, I've just added a list and said it's from the report control class .block queue, and that's what we're looking at. This here is a block clash queue. Now what it means by clash is if you added a block which would potentially clash with another block, it will report it. Now on the template, there is a strategy. Only 2 of the strategies have been implemented, but the other 2 are actually in there and commented. And we'll cover what they're going to be just in a second. So going to my sheet here, if I was to add a new block, and I'll say position 1 for 3, we shouldn't be clashing with anything, because the earliest we'll say it's on that row. The earliest we've got is at 7. So if I was to say, okay, add that block, perfect. Position 1 for 3, and it's not clashed with anything. So there's no problem on that. Let's get rid of that. So let's say for 1 to 6. And again, we're not expecting any clash because it goes straight up to the next block, but doesn't clash. So if I was to now say 1 to 7, I'd expect that to report an error. I've got our strategy say to allow, but it will basically add it to the clash queue for you. I meant to actually get rid of those. Delete that one. Delete that one. There you go. Now let's add that, and we can see here straight away it's reported in its queue that that block on that row for those positions has now caused a clash. Now if anyone uses this, go hand in hand with the calendar does allow for 2 events to overlap, and pictorially it'll just show them next to each other, if you will. But the report control doesn't quite give you that. What it's actually done is bump that one along a little. If I was to delete that block, it puts block 0 back to what it visually should be. So you can see now here that we've got that starting at 7, and this one overlaps on 7, so giving you a clash. So that's the new thing what's gone in for you to be able to report on, use, so on and so forth. Strategies wise, let's take a quick look at where those settings are now. and we move this around a little, the increments have now gone onto their own tab, and the clash strategy is allow and do not allow. So if I was to do that same test in do not allow mode, we'll go straight on. 1 for 6, we know that's fine. And, oh, not added in a row. That's fine, no problem. But 1 for 7, it shouldn't add it. Now, I'm not putting out a message of the return value, but that's returning false. So no clashes have been detected. It's just not allowed you to add the block. And if you were to be interrogating the result of the add block, it would come back with basically a quote no block object, which is what you'd be wanting to track for. So the other strategies, which are just they're in the class. Sorry, they're in the class, but they're also in the template, but commented out, ready for the next update. Let's just take you to the strategies. You've got allow. You're going to have allow with warning. So of course I need to allow you to put your own warning text in there so that you can have it multilingual, of course. So you're going to have allow with warning, allow, and I'm trying to think of the actual wording. So let me tell you exactly what it's going to be. Just trying to find the actual wording. As I say, it's in there. It's just commented. Okay, so it's going to be allow, add child, allow, add child row, allow display warning, and do not allow. So the other two are going to work. Allow with warning would just put a warning message up for you, but would still add it to the clash queue and so on and so forth. And allow child queue, what that's going to do is trigger this to turn into a parent row. It's going to automatically add a tree element to it and fold it down, adding a duplicate row underneath, and the new block would have actually been added, for example, to something like this. So that would have had a tree, so you'd have had two foundations, both same date and so on, and that would have been showing the clash. So that's what's coming in the next build. It just it didn't quite get enough for that one. Okay, so that's the update on that. It's going pretty good, and one is that this version is out, and you can get to it now. Just download if you've got an active plan, of course. The other update, which is more or less ready, actually, we're working on it today, and it is all but done. Let's take a quick look. It's on our Chilkat wrapper. 2 sets of updates in this build. Let's just quickly compile and show you what we've got. So the first one is the Google Calendar. So let me just let's have this open here and that open there. That'll do. So the example app has been updated as well. So now we can do connection, we can download free events, which we can see. And now we've got more, so I can say, okay, get rid of the old day test. So I can delete that. Oh, I've got some debug, ignore that. But if I go to here, you can see in Google that's been deleted. Let's put one in here. So Clarion Live test, and that's good. That's as good as any. Let's go back here, download. There you go. Got our third one. But there's our Clarion Live test. I'm going to update it from here. So it's bringing back all the details you would need. So the ID, the E tag, which is basically if that changes, it means it's been revised from the last time. So when you store these in your database, you should always store both of those as a pair. I will be releasing an update example for the calendar, so you can to show the synchronizing with the Google Live calendar. So you get a summary, so we'll do summary, Clarion Live, test, example. Got my debug, so, and let's just refresh that. And there we go, there's our Clarion Live example. Oh, it's offsetting the hour, I've still got to do the British summertime allowance. And of course you can insert. So, we can say here, for today, we'll put it on for tomorrow at 9 and till 10. Hello, world, from Clarion. And we'll even put a reminder on it for 15 minutes. And it's not liked. And what's it not liked? Do you know what? I don't know why it's just done that. Let's try that again. Okay, gonna take a look. Because the insert does work, I just don't know why it's thrown that up. But one thing you might have noticed for anybody who's using the current examples, and this goes into the class as well, is let's just do whatever, it doesn't really matter. Right, the error reporting. Now there's this. Imagine if you will, there's two sets of error reporting for the Chilkat. There is as the actual website reported an error, or the control itself, can it not get to where the endpoint, that would give you an error straight at the connection level, so on and so forth. If it detects that, it will report that error to you, and you won't be getting a response code because chances are you might not have even got to there in the first place, or if you did, it might be a response of 404 not found, that type of thing. If it gets past that, these are the task classes, and if anyone, I'll give you some examples of if you are doing all the coding yourself manually, which of course don't forget you can do. I've done this in an app for the EasyPost integration, and I'm using the exact same commands that we're all using here, so it's just in an app, so it's very simple. But now what it will do is, if it detects basically a failed response, so a 200 or 201 might be perfectly acceptable, but this is saying a 400, so this isn't acceptable to Google. It's got its connection, it just doesn't like what I've sent. If that's the case, it will actually grab the JSON response, or the response from the website, might not be JSON, the response from the website, and it will put it into an actual variable in the class, which you have now got a method. You've got two new methods, get last error response code, get last error JSON, and it will return you the JSON content of the last error. So then you can start going interrogating this, parse it as you need, and you'll get the content you want. So that's one update. And another update is actually to do with one of the base classes, and you can see there's some examples. There's been some further examples to update the example procedures to help people get used to using more of the string builder commands, which is the heart. I was just talking to one of Paul, who's actually on the webinar here now. I was just talking with Paul, and basically what we're saying is some of the actual main parts of Chilkat that I use in the task classes, but I also use in my apps, are the JSON, because it's so powerful and so versatile, and you can do everything in just one line of code. You can build a full structure in just one line of code, so it's really good for that. And the string builder, because at the heart of it, the actual Chilkat will use string builder to basically use it as a container, manipulate strings, and pass it around from object to object, be it a REST object, the JSON object, another string builder object, the socket, so on and so forth. And that leads us on to the socket example. Oh, going great guns here. And basically I'll put an example together in here so that you can just send data from basically host to host, from machine to machine, IP address to IP address. So basically the remit, what I was playing about for this was, let's get a JSON string from one site, in one country over to another site into another country. It's kind of irrelevant. It's just machine to machine. So basically, I haven't got. Let's just take a copy of that. I know if I went to our site, let's see if we can get a connection. Because I don't think it'd actually allow that, No, I'm kind of hoping it wouldn't. Just try. Let me find. I can't remember what our IP address is. I should know these things. Won't be a second. Maybe a different port. Yeah, so I can connect to that because that happens to be our development scheduling system. So basically, that shows that we can get a connection. I can go and send data to it, and so on and so forth. You can be on the receiving side and receive that data, and of course, it doesn't have to be just a string or a byte. Mentioned the string builder a minute ago. I'm loading some data up into JSON, building my JSON content. I'm emitting that to a string builder object, which is just one command, and then I'm using a socket to send the string builder content, which is our JSON content, just in one command, which is send string builder, send SB, and it will send the content of the string builder over to the recipient. That in turn will be receive string builder, receives SB, and that will receive it into a string builder object. So there's quite a few updates going on in this next build, and you'll probably get the new build this week. Okay, right. And Paul has just reminded us. I remember, basically, 2nd of July, 2008, or 10 years ago, this very day, is when we actually sold our first template to the Clarion market. Of course, been in Clarion and developing Clarion for a long time beforehand, but today and literally today is our 10th anniversary. So we will be doing some kind of announcement and some kind of special and so on and so forth. If John's still around, I don't know if John's had to go anywhere.
I'm here.
Are you there?
I'm here.
So yes,
Yeah.
10 years ago today, since we did our first sale to the Clarion community. So
Awesome.
we're going to do some kind of special. So if there's a Friday webinar, if we could just grab the mic for a few minutes just to announce some kind of special to celebrate 10 years, it would be gratefully appreciated.
No problem there.
Oh, cool. Right. So yes, as you can see, lots of updates as always, and all the tools that I think is still moving on at quite a pace. Questions. Now I know Edvard is here. Hopefully he's got a microphone because he's having problems with the calendar, maybe initializing and so on, which is quite strange. Those kind of errors are not really the norm. So let's see if Edvard is around. Hi.
Yes, and I'm around. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Well, as I've said to you a couple of times, I really have a problem coming from. It initializes in seconds as it should do. It reads in all the schedules in seconds as it should do, and then that goes from 2 to 5 minutes before I'm able to use right hand click.
Now, does the content, the actual events, did they appear straight away, or are they still loading? Because we covered it. I think it might have been last week or the week before, where we suggested changing the loading sequence.
Yes, but I have done that. But it shows that even without loading anything, it takes these 2 to 5 minutes before something happens.
Right,
and that's crazy.
Yeah, well, it's going to be something on there, so we'll take a look. But rest assured, I mean, the calendar is definitely one of the most popular we do, and I use it in one of our apps. So at the last
and the sample calendar works as it should.
Right.
No problem at all.
So let's take a look at
both samples. I have two tries to put in a newer code jog to see about that would make a difference. It didn't make any difference.
No, the actual calendar wrapper, all them years ago, as we mentioned a minute ago, that was actually started to be developed back in. Crikey. Let me just take a look. The first one I bought was the calendar, and it was version 11.2. Now that's that's got to be. I was using that prior to actually doing templates, so I'm probably using that 11, 12 years ago. So and again, there's no delay. So the code version shouldn't really come into it. Of course, they've done changes over the time, as anybody does, but none of them have really affected initialization speed and so on and so forth. So I wouldn't expect it to be that. So let's go to your system and let's take a look. So you should get a prompt to say make presenter.
I'll do that moment here. So much presenters. And now I have been put this in a couple of hours ago, and it works as I expect it to work. See here, no problem at all.
Okay.
It is as I want it to be, and it works. There's a little bit about how fast I get it refreshed because I have changed some embed points and so on, but it works. No problem there. But if I do this, close it and open it again, you see they get in immediately, no problem there. But now I try to right click on it, nothing happens.
Okay, let's have a look at the.
I have to wait a couple of minutes before something happens.
Okay, so let's take a look at the loading. Now, just to see if it is loading or not, is this a TPS system or a SQL system?
This is, well, one thing I haven't done anything about it is this is a multi-DLL system. And I have a global extension here on this DLL. Do not guess with on.
What's your license to on? Okay.
Just to show what I have here. If there's something you want to do, then it's up to you.
Okay. So basically, this is a multi-DLL. Okay, and this is the application where the calendar resides. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So now let's see if you. Let's see if I can get.
What I have, which I don't know about, is right. Because when I go to the view control.
Okay.
Okay. If I go to the data DLL here.
Okay.
I have an.
You've got the calendar in there too. You don't need.
Yeah, too. But can it? Well, let's see about it makes a difference if I delete it.
Well, basically, the for a multi DLL, out of our products, the only two which you would need at present, this might change in the future, but the only two you would need to add to the data DLL would be the docking panes and the skin framework. All the others, if they're not used in there, they don't need to be there.
So you say I can delete this one?
You can delete it. You don't need it in there. But you would still need to recompile the data DLL. If you ever get a new version of the class or anything like that, you will still need to recompile it because the data DLL is responsible for exporting the.
You can see when you're looking at the date of the data DLL, I have recompiled it a hell of a lot of times.
Yeah. So that's always the you'd be surprised it catches a lot of people out with they think it's not needed because I'm not using it in there, but it's still responsible for the classes.
So let's see about that. This makes any difference. It could
be
fun, is it?
So before that, I mean, we can compile obviously, but the tables are they TPS or SQL?
SQL.
Okay, I was just wondering if you could do a quick backup and then delete the current records you've got, just to see if it's just loading lots of records.
Okay. Give me a second. And it's PPJ 10. Tables. Okay, they're gone.
Okay.
And if you go back, no, nothing happens.
Okay, that's fine. So let's have a look at what settings we've got.
Well, I got absolutely no schedules. I've removed all of them.
Okay, can I control this at the moment?
You take it, yes?
No. Okay, if you can close that then, please.
Sorry?
Close. I can't control it, so. And let's open up the app where the calendar is.
Is this? And what do I want to have here?
Okay. So let's go to the calendar app, the procedure where the calendar is.
It is this one.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just see if I can request
See calendar Outlook. And what do we want to have here?
Just trying to see if I could actually control it, but no. Okay, so if we can go on to that, please, and let's have a look at the template extension for the calendar. Yep, okay, properties, yep. Okay, upon view change. Let's just go through them one at a time if we can, please, and I'll see if I can see anything. Yep, next. Okay, next. Oh, okay, next. Yep, next. Not required. Okay. I thought we did see multiple schedules. Okay.
Do we want this change or no?
Well, need to know how you're doing it currently. The templates aren't doing it, so you must be coding it yourself. Yeah, no, all fine on that. Yeah, next, and just a couple more. Line does not in use. That's fine. Next, I think that's more or less what I'm after. And attempt. Okay, and on these, you can go to that one. Always enabled. That's fine. Always enabled. So what is that option? Edvard,
Yep.
what is that option? What are they insert? Are they change, delete?
It's a new, change, delete, look, view.
Okay, it's just I noticed. Let's say the change. If you go into the change one, yeah, I mean this is only a thing, but you've got it always enabled at the bottom. I mean you can leave it. It's just I would recommend having that only when an event is selected, because if you're not on an event, you can't change it.
Yep, of course, yes.
Okay, and the same with the delete and the view. Okay, that and okay. So let's save that, and let's have a look at your embed points, because you must be doing something with the schedules, and I'm wondering whether that is the cause. So let's take a look.
What I have done is one thing I have here. It is that when I initialize the calendar,
Okay.
I end up by setting a text calendar finished. So I can see that I have been through all of the open window, and it happens within seconds.
Yeah, but that's the embed point is quite early. 6,000 is not the end. My code will be after that. That wants to be at I'd put that at say 9950. Can you just I'd do that as 9950.
9950. Okay.
Yeah, so it's really late, so we know. So okay.
Okay.
Now let's scroll down if we can. Have a look at anywhere else where it's doing the. So you've got schedules. Oh, okay. Let's look at your schedules.
I don't use schedules anymore, because you recommended to me that I shouldn't use that one. So what I did was simply to move all of the code that was in schedules to file load records.
Oh yes, but you must be creating some schedules. Let's have a look at your file load records.
And what I do here is first to find out which records I should have. It's pretty complicated what I do here, and what I do after that is I go down here.
Yeah, but hang on. I've just seen something you shouldn't have in there.
And make some code where the interesting thing is down here, where I insert an event based upon what I get out of my my SQL database.
Okay. Okay. Now, if you can go back into your load records. Now, I can see here, let's go down.
The part you are looking at now is this part here. And what this part does is simply to make you saw that I had 4 different resources. I had a Toyota and a Volvo and a couple of meetings I could show.
But you don't.
You
shouldn't be creating these. This is the wrong embed point for it. Definitely. Let me bring you back. Bring you back to me, and I'll just I'll show you what it is, what you're doing, and that's having an effect on yours. So let's close that. Right, okay. Webinars, that'll do. Right, just 1 second. And we'll have a quick compile of that. We'll just open up. It's really to do with the resources. Okay, so when I say about schedules, I actually mean the resources. But let me show you. Okay, so we've different ways of creating them. If they're always fixed, you could create them in the template. Probably not good enough for your scenario, not good enough for a lot of scenarios. But if you had a scenario, say you had machinery and you had machine 1, 2 and 3, you only ever have those 3 machines, then you can define them in the template because you know that you're always going to look at machine 1, 2 and 3. So that's fine for that scenario. What that would do from a generating point of view, so we'll cover the different scenarios very quickly. Schedules template. We go to the actual extension, go across to the schedules, and it says they're defined in template, and we've got 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and you can give them a long name, an ID, which has got to be unique, a long name and a short name. So, and that from a generation point of view, we go to our schedules here, and you won't see any code, or chances are you won't see any code. Schedules, because it's all been already done for you. So if we was to look at schedules now, the embed point. No, it's it'd be somewhere else. The add view schedule. Here, the template has done it for you. So as it's initialized, it's cleared what the schedules you can see on the screen. It's added one for each required schedule, and then it's updated the view schedules. That gives you these 3. Okay.
Yep.
Now we want them to be variable. So something like this table here. So we can turn them on and turn them off. So the template's not defining them in the templates. There's going to be no code. We need to do that same code, but we need to do it ourselves. So we come here now and we look at this staff example. We go to our template and it says they are created in encode. So it gives you a little pointer to say clear, add, or remove, depending on what you need to do, and update. So that's the code you're going to be doing. That clear once, that update once, and the add, how many times you need to do it. So into the template, into the class. And again, if we have a look at our schedules, right, there are some code here, and all it's doing is going through, okay, it's saying, go through and all the stuff that you can see have got a true for display, which is a little tick we had in the list box. It's going to call the add view schedules for us. Yep. So, but that is the embed point I would put it. So that is only ever called during initialization, unless of course you manually call it. So we must manually call it. So we'll look at our list. There it is. And it's on a double click. And what we do here is we go and get the current record we're on. We make sure that there's at least more than one, because what you can't do is have no schedules. The calendar needs at least one resource. So we say, if we only got one on, if we try and take the last one off, it's going to say, no, you can't do. So that's that. So that's that little check. That's neither here nor there. That just says, okay, is it on? And have we only got one? Then don't allow it. Otherwise, what we do is we update the record. That's just a display thing. That's nothing. Then we either add, if we're turning it on, we add the view schedule. If we're turning it off, we remove the view schedule. And we then call the update. Now, if we wanted to completely wipe them, Okay, what we could do is manually call the clear, manually call the add just once, and then the update. So, for example, let me just put some code on the screen to show, okay, what we will do. NYS only. Oops. Noyantis only. Okay. And I'm going to get rid of any of the schedules that are on there, and I'm just going to put one for us on there. Set NYS schedule only. So we would, just as I said before, we would Calendar Pro clear view schedules. That internally will get rid of any what are there. We will then add one. This is before the screen is reinitialized. I'll give it an ID. The ID can be NYS, and I'm going to give it a name of Noyantis. And then I'm going to update the view schedules. That, and we'll do something else in a second. So here they are with these people on. And if we press this, we've only got one, and it's Noyantis.
Because you deleted them and you made it.
Yep, but what you don't want to be doing is doing that on the load, because that's just going to kill the calendar. You don't, and you're doing yours in the load bit. You only ever need to do it during the initialization, unless you have some kind of screen control to turn them on and off. But if you don't have that, you only need to do it once.
But if I have a screen control to turn them on and off,
so
that could simply simply call schedules.
Yes, because what you're doing, this is crazy. Sorry, not crazy, but this will sound crazy. What you're doing is you are deleting in the load records. You're deleting the schedules. You're re-adding schedules, and then updating the schedule view. That in turn will go and get rid of all the records you've just loaded, which will cause a reload. So it's in a never. You're lucky it's even coming out of the loop, because in the background it's going to be really busy.
That was exactly how I did it. It was so that I made the schedules in the schedules.
But you had
embed point.
Yeah, but you had your file loading.
After that, I called the method that made the schedule.
Yeah, what you really want is a combination of. So let me just add another one in here. Okay, so we're going to have another button, and our button is going to be restore defaults. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to clear. We're not going to add one of our own, but we are going to call the Calendar Pro schedules. Schedules method, which we've already got some code in. Sorry. So we're going to clear. We're going to call that, and we're going to view. We need to do one other thing and all in a second, but I'll show you why. I'll show you what that is in a second. So we go to the calendar, and we can see in here we said just for the schedules we've got an add command for all the ones that I needed. Okay, so let's do that. What we should get is we should be able to switch between those three. Noyantis, back to those three. Noyantis, back to those three. Now I'm going to put a couple of things in. I'm going to put one, I'm going to put 2. I'm going to put 3. Oops, maybe even 3. Okay, so now we've got the 3. I do Noyantis. I do that. Oh, well, I didn't know whether I'd have to manually do the refresh, but because it's changing, it's detecting that it needs to reload the data. That's what you're going to be getting in yours, because of that, it's going to be forcing the reload. So you're saying the right click's not coming back. It's lucky the calendar's coming back at all, because it's just going into this loop of one event triggering another event to trigger another, and so on and so forth. So really, to recap, what you really want to do is keep the schedule work just to this bit. During the initialization, you don't need to call clear and update, because during the initialization will do that automatically. All you need to do is just call the add. So keep the schedules only in there, and in the file load records, keep the file load records, the loading of the data in there. But I noticed you were still using the old insert event and then set recurring event and set event busy, which you can do, but they're the old methods. Imagine, if you will, we'll go in here. This is good as any. I go and add a new event, and I'm going to say busy. I'm going to set its color. I'm going to set its busy status, and I might set a reminder and a meeting and so on. Okay. Now, what's going to happen here? So I've got start end date and times. I've got a subject. I've got some notes. I've got a color. I've got a meeting. I've got a private. I've got a busy, and I've got a reminder. So start and end, count as 1. Private 2. Meeting 3. Color 4. Reminder 5. Busy 6. Press OK. It's done it. It's fine. Now imagine you're loading hundreds of them. What it's actually doing is it's inserting a new event, creating the object, returning back to you. You're then modifying one of its properties to say, now go and set the busy. That's doing that, coming back to you. Now go and set the private, doing that, coming back to you. The reminder, the busy, the color. You're doing 5 or 6 different things, and the calendar is having to get the object, change the object, come back to you each time. So if you use the group structure instead of insert event, if you use a group structure, you get to set all the properties in one group structure. Do that, and what that does is it creates it and manipulates it all at the same time, and then comes back to you once. The callbacks from the callbacks from the calendar, basically all of it is much more efficient. You'll get a lot better loading speed if you the insert change it from insert event from group.
Okay.
So definitely recommend that. What I think you could do. Obviously, the posting of this video will go up, but it'll be up first thing in the morning, because I usually leave it after the webinar to convert into MP4. I'll upload it in the morning. You take a look, see if you can change your code. If you've still got a problem, then we'll just privately connect up on TeamViewer.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's okay. Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm in all this week. I've got a couple of. Obviously, I've got plenty of work to do, but got a couple of meetings which I've got to. I'll be tied up in. But I can always. I might not be available straight away. It might be half an hour, but just drop me a message and we'll arrange a connect up. But I don't think you'll actually need it if you follow schedules for the schedules, load records for the records. I think you'll be fine. You'll see a massive improvement. Going in and out of the shouldn't matter straight away. There's that, and so on and so forth. You should be able to do it as much as you. Wrong one. I'm right clicking, but you should be able to do it as much as you like.
Yep. And what I really. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I think
I follow those.
I think I know what to do, and I'll make a very, very simple. Well, what I did first time was build up the temp build up the process from start to see when did it stop working.
Right.
And I really didn't find out.
Okay.
This time I'll do it in another way. I'll make the embeds from bottom up again, making them first making them sure that I'm able to make a schedule as I want to have them, and next I'll begin to make the events as I want to have them.
Exactly.
And see how that will go.
But try and keep them to their own points. So the schedules to the schedules, the records to the records.
Yep.
Because the point of doing it this way, especially with the start and end dates, is to try and load the minimum amount of data to give you speed. For example, and this is what we covered in the other ones is, and it could be any, we could go into here. That's loading records for these days. There's pointless, if we've our database in a system which has been running for quite a while, you could well have records in there which have been running for 10 years. Now, there's pointless loading events from 2008 unless the user goes all the way back to 2008. So what you want to do is only load when they change. When they say that we need to go and do something, that's when you load.
What I wonder about it is where do it call the file load records method?
It will do it automatically. It will load it whenever these dates change. Internally, it monitors, and if those dates change, it will call it automatically.
Okay.
So, for example, we go in now, and it knows it's got the 2nd to the 6th. If I use the keyboard and I go left, now it's just changed. Now it's got the 1st to the 5th. That caused a reload. Okay, going this way hasn't caused a reload. If I go. So that range, we're looking at this range here. If that range changes, that will cause a reload. Likewise, if I don't use a keyboard and I just go here, again, it's a different date range, that will cause a reload. So don't worry about you trapping it. It will know when it needs data, and it will call that embed point with the 2 dates.
And what I should really do something about in the beginning, it is to make me see these selected from the active from and until, so I know what I'm looking at.
Okay.
What's seeing it? Okay. I think I got the point. You got more guests for this meeting, so let's go back to them.
But the offer's there. Review the video. Take a look at the difference in embed points and how you can change your code to work that way. And then if you have problems, drop me a message.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Okay. Good luck.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay. So questions. Any others? We've got Bill. Sorry, late. Where's Bill? Hi, Bill. I think I might
Hey, Andy. Hey, everybody. How's everybody today?
We're going good. It's quite warm over here. We're actually getting a summer this time. So
yeah, it was 100 plus yesterday here. So
not that. Although parts of the UK we're in
Fahrenheit
32 centigrade. So I don't know what the difference is. What's that? Centigrade to Fahrenheit.
I'm not real sure. Probably about that'd make it about 80 degrees, I guess.
I'm just going to take a quick look. Convert 89.6. So that's warm for us. I mean, that's real warm for us. So.
But no, I had uploaded or downloaded the most current reports control.
Yep,
download,
the template.
And it looked like the last demo apps were back from at least a year ago.
Well, let me have a look here because I don't know if it's in.
And I went back and double checked, and the template site, the templates themselves.
Oh yeah, it would be that. No, it's not exactly.
I think 4.3 or something like that, but
no.
And I searched everything, and I maybe I just did something wrong, but
no. You see, that's did some changes to this one, I'm sure I did. But I better watch it because this is in C10, and I like to keep the things at least back to C8. I mean, some of the examples are still actually back in C6.
Right. Well, that was the thing. It was the sample. It did ask me if I wanted to convert it up to the newer version.
It will always do that because some of the examples out there are still in C6 format because we still support C6. But yes, basically, has this got the? I'd have to have a look. Trying to think what this is what new this has got. Date scale, toggle. Is it? I'd have to have a look. Is there something in particular because I can make sure I cover it and update the example app? Is there something in particular? Yeah, you see that's 16 as well. That can't be the one. I'm trying to think where my other one is then.
It was just that I'd missed quite a few of the webinars, and there was. I know there were several things. There was some post you had last week that you added like 3 or 4 different things, and I thought, well,
if you ever want the webinar ones, that's no problem. We still need to find a central repository, and I'll probably do it on the website, my site, to be fair. But in last week's, like the previous week's webinars, the user groups, then all these examples, if you ever want them, like so. We worked on a report control last week. Can't even remember what we worked on, to be honest with you. But it's the example, so you will always be able to get to the whatever we work on that week. If you're watching the 26th of June webinar and say, Andy, can I have a copy of that because that's really what I'm after? Then that's no problem. I can just send it to you, zip it up. But we do actually want to add a place onto the website for the recordings and, well, I'm going to use YouTube, but the link to the recording, but also the particular examples like this. I don't know what we did on this last week. Was it the send to, something like that?
I'm not sure. I missed 2 or 3 weeks. I've been in and out of the hospital this month.
Oh, so to hear that. So, but it could be. I'd have to review them myself, to be honest. But yeah, if you're watching one particular one, go, that looks really, I could do with that, or that's really interesting. Then just drop me a message, and in the meantime, until we get them on the website, I'll just zip them up and put them on the Skype chat and so on.
Hello?
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Oh, yes. But basically, what I was saying is. Before they can go up to the website, if we don't, find a central place, I can always zip them up and either email or put them on Skype and so on. So, if you see something, and anybody else, of course, and you're thinking, how did he do that? Or I could do with a copy of that example for example purposes. Just drop me a message. That's no problem.
Yeah, when you do doing the webinars, if you start a new, do you take the previous?
No, I always take them off. Like today, a second ago, I just opened the calendar. So what I would do is, here's all the previous weeks, as you can see,
right.
And I would copy in from my master examples across. So they're always the demo app that you get built on top of that. So the calendar one today was the official calendar demo app with them extra 2 buttons on what we've just done.
Oh, okay. It's not like you keep upgrading the thing along the.
No, I don't do the live because chances are sometimes we just put in loads of code in and so on. So try and keep the polished examples for the ones for the installers, but all of the user group ones are available. That's no problem.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll watch some of the. Go back and watch.
Take a look at the recordings, and if you go, Andy, you did, week whatever, you did X, Y, Z. I'll just send over the zip of the app.
Okay, that'd be perfect. I just was curious. I thought maybe somewhere you had a cumulative one that you were doing for the webinars, and that way it would keep growing.
I've got you. It's not something I've really thought of that actually. Yeah, it's not actually a bad idea.
It wouldn't really help the guy that needs the C6 one, but at least.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. For me to do the C6, I have to fire up the virtual box and update the example that way.
Oh man, no,
so It's a,
I'm
so
trying to
I'm thinking of changing.
I'm trying to get rid of my C6 right now. So
Yeah, I'm thinking of taking all the examples to C8, but they are currently in C6 format. But I think they're going to go to C8, which it's fair enough. C8's been around for a long time, let alone C6. So, okay, I've got one more question, if you don't mind. Then, Bill, if you're okay, you watch
Thank you.
videos, let me know the things, and I'll send them across. No problem. Jesper, where are we? So he's saying, hi. Hi, Jesper.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay, yes. So your question is to do with report control, data binding. Is that correct?
Yeah, I want to change the picture I get back from the standard one.
Right.
So,
Now, the problem there is with the data binding, you lose a lot of the control because you're asking it to bind itself, bypass the dictionary, bypass the methods, bypass Clarion, really. You're bypassing a lot of things to basically hook straight into the ADO data source. That's fine. That you can do that. But what you'd need to do is change your SQL. Is it what's the data source? Is it MS SQL or MySQL or Access?
MS SQL.
MS SQL. So okay. So you'd have to change your select statement to cast the data how you want to see it. So that's what you'd have to do. So you'd have to do it. I know John does this in one of his packages, and basically you could create a view in SQL and so on, and query the view.
That's what I'm already doing. So
yeah, but you would have to basically do a convert, say like convert date time or a cast. You'd have to do the conversion in the SQL query so that when it's presented on the screen, it's in the format that you want it to be.
it's already in the right format. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I've had some. I've still got some. I've got some very convoluted SQL views, which basically do quite a bit of data manipulation, so that when I'm just hooking straight onto it and looking at the data, it's exactly as I want, including padding out, so doing a case statement. So if it's, let's say, a status 1, 2, and 3, the user gets to see the nice status wording and so on and so forth. So that's the trick. You have to really do it in the SQL Select for the data binding. You could manually do it afterwards, but you'd lose all the speed enhancements. So it'd be pointless doing it.
Because the view will give me the speed of the from the SQL. So I guess it's
because if you did it local, it'd still be memory based, but you would have to say you was applying the picture to. I'm just trying to think. Instead of it being status 1, 2, and 3, you wanted to change that status to open, closed, in query. Then what you'd have to do is loop through all the report control items in memory and do the set row cell value or set row cell caption for each row for each column that you want. So you could do it locally after the refresh has occurred, but you would lose quite a bit of your speed. It's not the way I would approach it. I'd do it actually in the SQL query and get the results, because that way your raw data engine is doing all the work for you and giving you back exactly what you have.
Yeah, I'll try to do it that way.
Okay, no problems. Okay, do we have any other questions or queries or ideas? No. Okay. Very much doubt we're going to have time to actually start, but one of the things we did want to work on to starting today, and work has already started on it, is this centralization of the CodeJock settings. Now, John, do you want to just remind us if John's available still and available to go through it? Do you want to just quickly remind us on your implementation, because it might be that the CJ resource template has already been started, but it might be that I'm trying to overdo it for its first cut, and maybe we could actually just wind it back a little and then allow for some of the settings afterwards. It does mean people might have to do 2 passes, but it's still better than what they've got now. So just thinking aloud, so we can actually get you up to date as well, but get the centralization underway.
Yeah, the only thing I'm doing at the moment is the version that I want to use throughout the program. Like right now I'm, what am I at, 17? Let me check. I think it's 1703. Is that one? 17.3?
There was a 17.3, yeah. That was the last 17 before they went to 18.
Well, that's where I stopped because I don't have the template that'll bump it up, I guess. But I've got it so in my global extensions and the main exe, I can set the version that I want to use, and then it carries through to all the DLLs. So I don't have to go through 23 DLLs and change it to 18.2 or 18.2, 18.2, 23 times. I just do it one time. And so that's the only thing I'm doing right now. It'd be nice to do other things as well, like set themes and things like that.
Well, I think that's one of the things what we were thinking is the CJ resource. Do you know, I can't even remember myself. I don't even know what the date and time is when I last worked on it. This is terrible, but you might as well have transparency. It was. So let's have a quick look. NYS CJ, Codejock. January. Oh my days, January. That's terrible. But some of the settings that was declaring is this app or another app, so for the multi-DLL.
Right.
Obviously, the Codejock version, including hotfixes and Unicode and so on. Definitely want to include the Unicode because I've been making some work on that, which is nice. But I see these are still the old theme settings. But I also like the idea of doing the themes. Maybe I don't. Maybe in version 1 we don't, and we just leave the others to the themes to still be separate. Maybe we don't. That would at least make it faster. So for clarity, going forward on this, contrary to what I said earlier on, you would actually add the extension, the global extension, to all apps where it's used, including all apps that are required, including the data DLL.
Right.
That's correct. Yep.
Right.
So it's a bit of a change of approach, but it is a better one, to be fair, especially for the Codejock suite. Not so much the others, but definitely for the Codejock suite. So.
Yeah, it's a whole lot faster. Once you get all you get everything in place, then
the practice management system I think that was in the region of 30 odd different apps. So I do know what you mean about changing it and changing it. Not just a version. I mean, they're still back on 15.3.1. They didn't want to particularly move, but yeah, it was a pain if you ever wanted to go through and change it to themes and so on and so forth. I think that was my main problem, is if you want to go through and change the themes, you have to do it in 30 odd applications, which just there's half a day gone for very little gain for doing that.
Yeah, so it would be nice to have the themes as well.
Okay. I'm going to schedule some time in then. It's got to be done. By the bullet. I'll get the what I'll do. The report control's already out. The one with the clashing of the blocks. I'll finish the Chilkat example this week, which is more or less there for the Google Sync, which you saw, and finish off the socket and sending data around via sockets and so on. And I'll get that released this week. So next week I'll actually put some time into this. There you go. So by next Monday, we'll be able to at least chat about it to see if it started.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, cool. Okay, right. There don't look like there's any other questions, so it looks like we are more or less done, which is not bad. We're on time, a little early actually. So cool. I think we're done. If is it okay if I just have a quick, like I say, quick announcement on Friday, just to say about 10th anniversary and so on and so forth, and we'll come up with some kind of goodie, I'm sure.
Andy, there was one question in Skype in the Kojak Noyantis discussion.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Where we're looking, Andy. Oh, it's Pete. Right. We have a different time layout. I cannot join the webinar. It's too late for me. Okay. Maybe it's possible. Can you say some words about the fact that when selecting the queue as data source for selection box, it stays grey? Report control. Report control. Okay.
I wasn't clear what that meant.
I think I know what he means. Is this report control? Let me just make sure I'm on the latest one. That today's? No. Oh, do you know what? That'll do. The one from 2 weeks ago, but that'll do. I think when it comes to the data source, I think simple should do. I'm just trying to find it. Report control simple. Right. So I think he's referring to getting the data into the actual report control. You've got data source, data binding, of course. That's where you would set up your SQL connection and your query. Manually loaded is that. The queue, okay, that actually should be hidden. That's why. So Pete, that should be hidden. That is going to be basically a subset of the functionality you've already got. If you want that at the moment, your easiest way is to basically just put a list box on the screen. It can be as small as you like, dead small, hidden, doesn't matter. Put a list box on the screen, set it to a queue, and so on. Set your format if you want, and so on and so forth. And then use the list enhancer. So, for example, go to this. Put your report control on the screen. Oh, sorry, put a list on the screen. Wherever you like. Set it to whatever you want from. I haven't got a local queue here, but you get the idea. Set it to a queue, so on and so forth. And then go to your extensions and use a list enhancer. Just for now. And what that will do is it will allow you basically to choose your list. It will take the data from that queue, so it knows what queue. So at the moment, I would do it that way because it monitors for changes. I'm just going to delete that because I wonder what it is next time we come to it, even though it's from 2 weeks ago. But the data source from queue is basically going to be a subset of what you've seen. The list enhancer monitors the queue, tracks any changes, so on and so forth, and basically paints the report control from that. The queue source is going to be all of that, but without the actual list on the screen. So you can just point it to a queue, it will read the queue, create the columns accordingly, and so on. So that's what it's going to be. So it should actually be hidden. It shouldn't be coming up. So yeah, my bad. That shouldn't actually be on. But to accomplish what you're after there, just use a list enhancer and you'll get exactly the same. The list doesn't have to be, you could have it just hidden and so on and so forth. You'll get, that'll still monitor the same queue, get the data in there, reset itself when the queue changes. So that's what he's referring to.
Okay.
And we've got one more. Carl's just asked the question. Can you please send me the Skype link to join the Noyantis discussion? Yep. I am. Yep. Okay. I've got that. So let's go to the Skype chat. Okay, Carl. No, not spoke to Carl. Actually, we'll open the mic. I don't know if you've got to put you on the spot. Everyone puts me on the spot. Hi, Carl. Have you got a microphone?
Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, thank you. Yourself?
Doing good today.
So you should have a link where I've just gone to the actual Noyantis discussion and added you. So hopefully it's come up.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're currently doing some analysis of menu systems, and I did see some of your ribbon menu examples, and we're very interested. So one of the things I'd like to do is get a little bit more familiar with it and see the possibilities of implementing that in our product line.
Of course, yeah. Well, this is a great workshop, if you will, just to basically throw ideas around. We've had one of the other guys, David, a few months ago now, came up with a screenshot of an application which looked completely nothing. I think it was an art package, but he wanted that type of ribbon interface with slide in and slide out panes and so on and so forth. He wanted that kind of working system, and within the webinar, within an hour or so, we created a little shell. So it's a great resource just for bouncing ideas around, just to see what can be accomplished. So I just as I suggested to Dave is grab a few screenshots of your competitors' packages and completely unrelated packages, but what you like the UI of, what you like the look and feel of, and bring them to here, and let's see if we can, at least see whether it can be possible to create or not possible, that type of thing.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Okay, so now we are on time. So we shall finish up, and I shall see you all next week. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Bye.